Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 Daily. It is Thursday night, and this brings to a close our World 11 teams that we've been working on throughout the week. Tonight will be the turn of the three forward players: right hand, left hand, and central. We've done a series of polls today to get results. Some of them have been outrageous, to be perfectly honest with you. And look, we'll see how we go as we go throughout this. With me tonight is Keith and Grizz, and we'll be speaking of all these players, and we're going to look at both teams, both viewers and the Trippers alternate team, come the end of this show. This show is, of course, brought to you by Paddy Power. A bookie's a website and an app. If you gamble, please gamble responsibly, and remember to do so with Paddy Power. Ronaldinho over Cristiano Ronaldo, lads. Here we go. And here we go. So, let me just bring everybody up to speed before the madness, I suppose, starts and continues on and probably will never end. Keith and Grizz are with me tonight. As we stand, the viewers' team of the moment is Buffon, Cafu, Cannavaro, Baresi, Maldini, Alonso, Gerrard, Zidane. The Trippers team, as it's been picked so far, cannot have any of the same players in it as the viewers' team. So it is Schmeichel, Zanetti, Van Dijk, Chiellini and Lam, Rijkaard, Iniesta and Hullet as its midfield. We went on today, Grizz, and we decided to do our wide players and we decided to do our front man. We've gone with a 4-3-3 formation, simply to get a couple of midfielders in there. And I suppose the first place to start, Grizz, is the first poll we had today. Now, there was 4 players in there was 8 players. There was 2 polls of 4. One of them had MESSI in it, so he was going to win. We'll go on and discuss MESSI in a minute. He did win. He romped it. But the other one threw up something, which was Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho in the same poll. Now, Grizz, where do you stand on Cristiano Ronaldo and Ronaldinho?
That's a tough one, isn't it, Gav? Bloody hell. Straight into the lion's den. I think it's very, as with all these things, as with all these type of World 11s and, etc., it's all about your personal faves, isn't it? It's very, very, very subjective. There's usually the sensible answer, and there's usually the fanciful answer, the dream answer. So look, I'm no different. I could name both of them in my team and give you valid reasons for picking both. I mean, look, if I could choose one player that I would pay to watch, or if there was, one of those competitions where you can pick any player to play in your 5-a-side team or even in your 11-a-side team, right? I would pick Ronaldinho. I mean, an absolute magician. Probably the greatest, in my lifetime, the greatest entertainer, stroke, amazing footballer that I've ever seen. But then, if I wanted to win a tournament, and if I wanted one player who would guarantee me goals, assists, etc., it would be Cristiano Ronaldo. So I hope I've made that very clear.
You've made it clear that you don't know. Yeah, you don't know. You've made it very, very clear that you don't know who you choose. And I suppose I don't think I did ask. I didn't ask you to choose, so I'm not going to be too harsh on you. But I can reveal that Ronaldinho won the vote. I think he got 45% as opposed to Ronaldo's 43%. And do you know something? For once, Keith, recency bias didn't shine through. Now, having said that, the argument against it is that possibly one of the players considered to be easily in the top 5 players of all time has not made the viewer's choice for World 11 between 1990 and today.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? But I suppose a lot of people might argue, right, that the two of them should be in it. That Ronaldo should be playing through the middle, and you can put Ronaldinho and Leo Messi either side of him, and it's valid enough. You know what I mean? It's a tough one, but the fact that I was coming on here tonight, Gav, fully expecting to be looking at Cristiano Ronaldo not being an option on the alternates. Do you know what I mean? And I'm actually shocked.
So was I.
I think a lot of people, I don't know if the Man United tinted glasses might have
I think
swayed
so.
some people, In saying that now, if Phil was here, Phil would be arguing for loads of Man United. We had Dennis Irwin and Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I think he was only short of championing David May and Ronnie Johnson the other night for the defence.
Yeah.
But I think we have to balance it, and we have to be realistic here now. Ronaldinho, I agree with what Grizz said there. He is the most pure joy, entertaining footballer I've ever seen, because what he was he was skills and tricks and flicks, but effective with that. He was doing things that, when Ronaldo went to Man United, he was doing all these step overs and all these little tricks, but they were pointless. Do you know what I mean? They weren't getting him anywhere, and they were actually hindering his development a bit. That way. It was only when he cut all that shit out that he sort of really got rootless. That way.
Yeah, but shall I throw something at us, right, that we can discuss? And I think
I love it. Go.
No, I'm just saying. Look, right, if you combine the two players in terms of ability of Ronaldinho and the professionalism, the dedication to his profession of Cristiano, I think you probably have the greatest player of all time, and I'm going above Maradona and Messi there, because I think we discussed it in one of our convos off in WhatsApp, where we said, Keith, that if Ronaldinho, I don't know how to put this, but if he could be bothered. Now, I'm not saying he wasn't bothered, but we know he's a bit of a party animal. We know he loved his life, outside the game, right? A bit too much.
He did.
But if he could, now you talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's doing all his tricks and flicks and tricks at Old Trafford when he first came, and it was looking pretty, but it wasn't getting him anywhere. But credit to Ronaldo, Keith, from there, as his career progressed, he turned into the ultimate goal scoring machine, in my opinion. But that's what I'm saying. So, and that was dedicated, and that was, listen, there's a lot of Cristiano Ronaldo haters for the way he sort of, gels his hair or whatever, yeah? A lot of it's like jealousy from people like me and you. Haven't got much
very
top,
much
right?
so.
Yeah. But you got to admire, and you got to just absolutely give credit and take your hats off to his dedication to the game, because to be playing at his age, at his level, consistently for the last 4 or 5 seasons in terms of goals and assists, it's ridiculous. And that's why I think if you combine the two players, I think you probably get the best player of all time ever.
Yeah, I know, but listen, you could combine Messi and Ronaldo, and they'd be better than Messi and Ronaldinho. You know what I mean?
No, you wouldn't, because no one, including Messi, no one has got the skill, the technical ability of Ronaldinho. You see, that's what you're combining.
Yeah, but you see, and we said this in the WhatsApp as well, Grizz, I don't think the type of player, I said it on the show last night as well, I don't think the type of player Ronaldinho could have had that sort of will to do what Ronaldo done. Like Ronaldinho was a free spirited player.
Barry Carr says,
and that was the magic about him.
Barry Carr says there, Ronaldo was a product of outright obsessive training. He literally put his head down and went, I'm going to be the best. And in fairness to him, he did, because I remember him, he signed for United in 2004, I think, just after Beckham goes to Real Madrid, am I right? And he does come on. I think he makes his debut. It might be, I might be wrong. I think it's at home to Fulham. I think they're winning the game easy. He comes on. He has a 20-minute cameo, and he's running the defender ragged, and he's rebounding crosses, and he's doing all sorts of stuff. The crowd loved it, but you did see in his first probably year or so at United that there was loads of flair and skill, but the end product probably wasn't there, and then he just goes through the roof, absolutely through the roof, and he has done probably since around, I would say, probably 2006-7. From there on in, for the last 12 years or so, he's just been off the charts. Sorry, Grizz, before you shout me, Grizz, every time you speak to me, you sound like you're in a wind tunnel. So if you have earphones in and there's a mic near you, just take it away and stop roaring at the phone because you're blowing the ears off the two of us. But go on, what you're saying.
Am I too loud?
Yeah, because you're too close to the phone, I think. But go on.
So basically, what I was going to say is,
that's much better.
Usually you'd say if a manager like Alex Ferguson, for example, Alex Ferguson gets a hold of Cristiano Ronaldo nice and early in his playing career, right, and molds him and tells him that, you know, the only way to become one of the greatest is to dedicate your life, and he listened, right? So is it fair to say, or is there a case to say Ronaldinho didn't ever get a coach like that? Because in his heyday, the coach, correct me if I'm wrong, was it Rijkaard?
Rijkaard, yeah.
It was Rijkaard at Barcelona, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And Rijkaard was making his name in the game as a manager. You know, he wasn't sort of the father figure type that Alex was to Ronaldo. So things could have been different. I know it's difficult, and I probably agree with you, Keith, that we're saying that you can't really see Ronaldinho, you know, ever changing his ways, you know, under any coach. But, you know, maybe that was food for thought, that if someone like Alex Ferguson or what was the guy's name, the one with the Capello, someone like Capello got hold of him and didn't take away the skill and flair, but sort of
Kev Keegan would have had him.
Filled him with the professional side. Just advised him, like, look, this is your life, dedicate it, and you will be not known as one of the greatest entertainers of all time. You will be known as the greatest footballer of all time, which I think he 100% had the potential to be, but I don't think he fulfilled that properly.
I don't know. I genuinely know. Listen, I know where you're coming from with Capello and Ferguson. Maybe if you look at it like of a Wenger as well, you know, Wenger is a sort of player, a manager that does let players go out and be who they are. Kevin Keegan is probably the best man for it, in my opinion, but that's just me being mad. But I don't know.
Why not?
I think Ronaldinho stands out there as he's his own man. And I don't think anyone would have changed him, Grizz. Like, to the point where the rumour goes around that he's going to sign for Manchester United and he asks for a helicopter after every game. Now, he knows going there to United with Alex Ferguson, a helicopter and requests like that are not gonna cut it. But he does it anyway, because that's who Ronaldinho is, you know. He ends up going to Paris Saint-Germain in the end, but...
no, he went from Paris Saint-Germain to Barcelona.
Paris Saint-Germain to Barcelona.
Yeah.
But... it's just, I think he's just, like, he will go down as a great entertainer, but I think he goes down as one of the best footballers you've ever seen as well, because, listen, I've seen very entertaining footballers, but he had the lot. And we spoke, myself, Keith and Phil spoke about Ronaldinho. He came up the other night and we were speaking about him, and you just wax lyrical about the guy because he was just an outrageous footballer. But to pick him over Cristiano Ronaldo, I think it's a little bit much, because I think if you look at Ronaldo's goal record, if the flair he has, the skill he has, the attributes he has with regards to pace, power, he has the skill, he can head a ball, he can hit a ball from 30 yards, he's a finisher in the box. For people, although don't get me wrong, Ronaldinho, I'm with Grizz. If you were to ask me over the last 20 years, what player would you like to go and watch, bar MESSI, I think Ronaldinho was right up there. But Ronaldo,
I wouldn't
for me,
pay to watch Cristiano Ronaldo.
No,
I'm not a fan of Cristiano Ronaldo. He's just too mechanical.
I understand
not
that.
My cup of tea at all.
Listen, he gets results. He's got results wherever he's gone.
Keith, this is the thing. Yeah, but this is the thing. This is where the title of this team, right, is very important, and what tag we give it and what sort of branch it comes under. Because if it's an all-star, all-time 11. Maybe you could make a stronger case for Ronaldinho, but this is your best, your world 11 since 1990.
Yeah,
sort of
basically the Champions League era.
This is your team that goes and you put into a World Cup competition and you just go and win it and come home with the trophy. You're not looking to sort of entertain and dazzle and etc. etc. So, as we know, it's very subjective. It's all about favourites. And you said, us being an LFC based podcast, you can imagine a lot of anti-Man United sort of votes going in there.
It may
I mean, as we saw with the Liverpool vote yesterday, getting players in,
Well, most of this show tonight is probably going to be us picking our alternates because, like Ronaldinho's gone into the viewer's choice. Okay, so we have to now. Usually, I would give each of us a player or a position each to pick, but I feel like tonight we need to discuss this and we need to come to an agreement between the three of us, basically, so no one can blame each other. After the event, but I'm gonna have to put it out there, like. Ronaldo just goes straight into the alternate side, doesn't he, Keith?
Not even an option. Yeah, it's not even an option. I have him wrote down in front of me, and I have him in there since earlier. Like, so it's no brainer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to be clever like Phil. Yeah, I'm gonna say how it is, and Ronaldo goes in there. There's no debate about that. Yeah.
Okay, so the force of the attacking positions is filled by Ronaldinho for the viewers and Cristiano Ronaldo for the Trippers alternate side. Let me see. Kevin Sullivan says Messi will always be number 2 for me purely because he was never brave enough to move.
To who?
To Ronaldo, I think. No, listen, I haven't finished. He was never brave enough to move outside his comfort zone. Let's have a little chat about Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi comes to the fore at Barcelona around 2006, I think. I think he's around when they win the Champions League against Arsenal in Paris.
But he's breaking through.
He's breaking through. He's gone on to win, I don't know how many Ballon d'Ors, European Cups, Spanish League, Spanish Cups. Hasn't quite happened for him at international level, but in fairness, in the years he's been there, Argentina have been a mess, in my opinion, from the managers they've had to the players that they've had and persisted with. I don't think international has done them any favours. They've tried to build around them, but everyone else have let him down.
His record isn't as bad internationally compared to Ronaldo if you take out friendlies. It's in World Cups and Copa America, let's say, compared to Euros and World Cups. They're quite similar goal-wise. And if you look at the standard of competition, now, look, I'm going to put my hand up. Messi's the best player I've ever seen. Messi's the best player of all time. I've been in the new camp watching Messi, and it was, without being sounding too fucking ridiculous here, it was like something I've never experienced before in my life. The atmosphere when the ball goes near him, it's out of this world. And one of my ambitions is to bring my son to see him before he retires. Like, Messi is a fucking god to me. And I don't ever agree with the whole thing that but Ronaldo's a better goal scorer because, they're both on a par, and Messi's 2 years younger than him. You know what I mean? Like, they really are two phenomenons. Like, they ruin it for everybody else because the amount of goals these fuckers are getting is outrageous. Go ahead, Grizz. What are you going to say there?
No. I was going to say, look, you've literally said what I think. Right, so we're on the same page in terms of his greatness. But I'm going to have to play devil's advocate. And was it Kev O'Sullivan said that on the comments, Gav?
Yep.
So, look, I'm just playing devil's advocate here, Keith, so go easy on me, all right? But because I agree with you, right? Let's get out of the way. But he didn't, and he hasn't gone to other clubs, other leagues. Should he? And no, he shouldn't. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to, right? But that can be held against him.
It's always held against him. Yeah.
He's not the only great player that's been part of a poor international setup, right? So you can say other great players have been part of poor international setups and have better records. I'd say
Ronaldo was being part of a bad international setup, and they went and done well and won the Euros. You know what I mean?
So
they got over the line there.
Yeah. So the prosecution could build, for a slight case in terms of, look, he needs to do it in the major leagues. He doesn't have to, but it would have been the icing on the cake,
Yeah.
so to speak. There would be absolute no discussion, because
should be
as a result of that, there is a discussion. We are having a discussion.
There's always a discussion.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. He's fucking. Listen, we talk about pressure, and we talk about why hasn't he gone, and he's probably at the biggest club in the world the last 10, 20 years, and the pressure on him just to perform. The world's best defensive coaches, the best defensive players, formulating plans all week, months, how they're going to stop him. Yet he continuously delivers in every major competition, club competition we're talking here. In the biggest games, as you say, the ball goes to him. Wherever we are, whether it's the new camp or whether in our living rooms, we stand up. We think, well, okay, here we go. So, and you just have to look at the testimony of players and coaches around to see how great he was. But I think for the discussion to be no discussion, he should have, or he would have, or if he did, went to other leagues and performed like Cristiano Ronaldo has, I think there would be absolute zero discussion.
Well, you see, the reason I counter that, right? They'll jump in before we move on. The reason I counter that is Cristiano Ronaldo's a hobo. Cristiano Ronaldo moved from Sporting Lisbon as a 21-year-old or whatever he was, 90. I don't know what age he was when he moved to
younger, 18.
So he already has a move under his belt at that age, right? And his dream then, his target was to get to Real Madrid. So he was always going to move. Messi went to Barcelona as a child. Went through a lot of shit there to even get to Barcelona when he had issues with his growth hormones, things like that, So he put a lot into Barcelona and didn't move when he could have moved. I think that the fact that he stayed shouldn't be used as a yardstick, because Barcelona are one of the top teams and consistently been one of the top teams in the world. So why would he move to do it in another league? Do you know what I mean? Like if Messi was to move to PSG, for example, if he moved to PSG and won a league in France, would that make him any better than if he stays and wins it in Barcelona? I don't think it will. I think Ronaldo moving to Juventus is just hoovering up leagues. That's just my opinion, and I respect everyone else's view on this.
I agree. I tend to agree with you, but it's just
can't wait to get a word in here.
Like this.
Forget about Gav's not happening.
Like this, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll
finish off on one thing before I let Gav have a word. Another one thing, right? I done a geeky comparison between the two of these earlier on in the season, after about 10 games it was, right? All over the whole careers, including club and internationals, because I'm a bit of a sap like that. And between the two of them, right, at that stage, Ronaldo had played 981 club and country games, right? 706 goals, 250 assists. Outrageous numbers. 956 goal involvements.
Yeah.
Right. Messi, after 844 games, had 684 goals and 297 assists, 981 goal involvements. So we had more goal involvements in less games, but it's more or less neck and neck. I was surprised the amount of assists Ronaldo had racked up. I always thought of him as a selfish player. The two of them are just outrageous. Like I looked at other players that were involved in this, and the numbers that they got compared to these two, it's just blows everything out of water.
Oh, they drop. Yeah, they drop significantly, don't they? Yeah, it's mad.
It's unreal.
Right. Lionel Messi.
How are you, Gav?
How are you?
Gav, you can have
nice of you to join us, Gav. I think it's about mad. I think it's about mad. I think I don't know why Lionel Messi has to go and play in other countries. Lionel Messi, we look at players all the time. Like, there's loads of comments coming in here, right? Avo says, I could never accept Ronaldo as a truly great player because I hate him. And that's why I know he is a great player. I hate great players who don't play for us.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Paul says, let Gav speak. Paul, I'm here now. Don't worry. I'll bring you back to normality.
Gav speaks every day.
No, no way. Fahim feels that no way Ronaldinho should have a spot in the team. Well, he's being voted in. Fahim, you should have been on our Twitter earlier and affected the vote, and you could have, because it was really close. Dan Tom says Messi repaid the faith Barca shown him when he was a kid and stuff, and he did for his family. I'll get to that in a second. My argument, Dylan O'Rourke's gone on about Harvey Elliott's toilet paper keep you uppy challenge. He ended that whole competition yesterday, in fairness.
Wonderful.
The numbers prove how much they both needed each other, said Kev O'Sullivan. Right. Lionel Messi, right? People like Kev started this, right? Kev started this with a comment saying that he'd always be second to Ronaldo because he never went out of his comfort zone. Let me tell you something. We speak about players all the time. List them, right? Philippe Coutinho, Luis Suarez. You could probably put Mane in there if anything happens in the future. You know, the list is endless. Players that want to play for Barcelona and Real Madrid. Okay, that's the way it's set out in Europe. That's just the way you're going to have to. You just have to deal with that. Okay, is it easing off a little bit? Maybe so, because other clubs are coming to the fore. Liverpool being one of them, where we can be a destination rather than a stepping stone. Okay, Lionel Messi turns up at Barcelona in 2006 when they're on the cusp of taking over Europe. Let's be honest about it, and he goes and puts himself out there and ends up probably within 3 years being the best player around. All right, why should he live? Why should he leave? The difference is, as much as Cristiano Ronaldo leaves Portugal to go to a big side, okay, in Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo's wish was always to play for Real Madrid. Don't let anybody tell you any different, okay? And listen, even if Cristiano Ronaldo would have went and he's gone to Juventus now, and I agree with Keith, I think he's gone over there and he's hoovering up a couple of titles. He wants to take every penalty, he wants to take every free kick. He's standing in the middle of the box nowadays, looking to score goals. Hold on, Grizz. That is what he's doing, okay? But forget forget Ronaldo for a minute. I agree with Keith on that. I do agree with him on that, okay? But forget Ronaldo for a minute. Lionel Messi does not need to go anywhere else. Okay? At the end of the day, Lionel Messi just ended up at his destination at 16 or 17 years of age. That's where he ended up. You know what I mean? If Lionel Messi had have ended up at, let's say for argument's sake, he was at Benfica, and he plays a season at Benfica and he pulls the Portuguese league apart, and Barcelona come in and give him 20 million for a 16-year-old. They bring him over and he's one less season at Barcelona. Are we all going to say, oh, well, he went out of his comfort zone because he was with Benfica before? No, we're not. We just have to look at the cold, hard facts. And the reason I set Messi apart from Ronaldo, they're both brilliant players, the goals, the assists, the technique, the outrageous moments. The reason I set Messi apart is I feel that if a game needs to be won and a game needs to be taken by the scruff of the neck and dragged through, Messi is your man. And he can do it from his own half with passes he can make. He can do it from the middle of the park, left, right. He can play false nine. Now, don't get me wrong. Ronaldo can do false nine. He can do front man. He can do left, right. But Ronaldo's not going to come back into the middle of midfield, turn, beat 2 or 3 players and waltz through and bounce 1-2s around.
I'm not having that.
I'm telling you, Lionel Messi stands apart for me as the best footballer you have ever seen.
I agree.
Go on.
Okay, I agree. With your last paragraph and sentence, I agree. Okay? He is the greatest footballer, and I've said that. Now, what I won't have, I'm not having it. I won't have disrespect to Cristiano Ronaldo and say he can't take the game by the scruff of the neck, do this, because he has done it for big teams in big competitions in different leagues. The only difference... this is the closing statement. We move on now because Messi Ronaldo is boring. All right. The only difference.
We can talk about them all night, Grizz. I have a spreadsheet in front of me here. I can talk about it all night.
Spreadsheet. Now that we don't do that spreadsheet. All right. So basically, what it comes down to, in my opinion, and I think thousands and millions will agree with Grizz here. What it comes down to is you can't say, oh, he can't do this, he can't do that. Both of them can do everything. It just comes down to talent. And Lionel Messi is more talented. We cannot take anything away from Cristiano Ronaldo. We shouldn't take anything away. Just because we're comparing two of possibly the greatest 5 players of all time ever. They're in the same generation. They're playing at the same time. So therefore, we shouldn't, for the sake of it, just because we prefer Messi, discredit Ronaldo. Let's just say Messi is the best, but let's not discredit Cristiano Ronaldo and say he can't do this, he can't do that. He's just not as talented as Messi.
Which makes him not as good.
He stayed in his... He's just not as good. But the fact that he's sort of stayed on his tail is absolute credit to his dedication to his game. That's what I will say. Because you got to remember, being one of the greatest footballers of all time is not all about skill and talent.
No, that's true.
Well, I think a lot of it is, in fairness. If you've no skill and no talent, I can't see you becoming one of the best players in the world. Listen, Ronaldinho and Messi make up the viewer's choice. So we have Ronaldo.
Not bad.
So
Not
we
bad.
we need a right-sided player, basically, right? Now, we can't have Messi. We can't have Ronaldo because he's there. So between the three of us, we need to come up with a player that's going to go in and complement Ronaldo on the left-hand side of our attack. Grizz, who would you like to go for on the right-hand side? Grizz just gone. He's just had enough. Keith, who would you like to bring in on the right-hand side?
Well, who I'd like to bring in won't be the most popular. People.
Sorry, I was.
Go for it, Grizz. You go. No, I was just going to
first.
say the person I'd be looking to bring in would be Michael Laudrup, and that's only a personal choice because I'm an old fucker who likes olden days football. I feel Michael Laudrup is one of the best, most underrated superstars that I can remember. Do you know what I mean? Like, Michael Laudrup was absolutely sensational and never gets spoken about as one of the greats. And to me, I'd go Michael Laudrup. I could see maybe a Neymar maybe doesn't get the credit he deserves. I don't like him. My young fella loves Neymar, and if I'm playing football and he says, "Oh, Neymar," I stop it and I'm like, none of that. Diving a little shy. But talent-wise, Neymar is very, very talented footballer, you know what I mean? So my choice would be Laudrup, but I'm open to any other suggestions.
Okay, Grizz, who are you having?
So you've confused me, guys, here about this format, because are we talking about from someone from the polls?
No, you can have anybody.
No, you can have anyone.
You can have anyone you like.
All right. So what we've selected Ronaldinho on the left.
No.
Right.
The viewers have. Look, Jesus Christ, Chris. The viewers.
We can't have anyone in the same as the viewers.
We can't have any of the same players as the viewers. So they have Ronaldinho, Messi.
Okay.
So we have Ronaldo. So who are you going with on the other side?
All right. So this is on the left, yeah?
No. Yeah. Right. But it doesn't matter. A wide player.
This is on the right. Well, again, me and Keith are old boys, so I'm not gonna say a bad word about Michael Laudrup. I thought he was so silky. We're talking about one of the finest dribblers, just pure natural ability to just dribble. You know, the old football exercise, what you do with just basic dribbling through cones with the football.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see him sort of do that all day long.
He went to the shops doing that, didn't he? Michael Laudrup done his Blade Weekly shopping through cones.
So smooth. I don't know if you guys read one of my messages at 4:00 in the morning when I woke up, and all of yous were asleep, and I mentioned the player.
Who did you mention?
Luis Figo. And
yeah.
I thought Luis Figo has been so underrated. I thought another magician with the football, playing with the likes of the players he did at Barcelona, and then going to Madrid and being part of the Galacticos. You need balls, and this guy had balls, man.
Laudrup done the same thing.
Hey,
Laudrup done the same thing.
Oh yeah. Fair enough. So it's a tough one.
But
man.
I do agree, Figo was a good player.
If you're talking about the right, Keith, and you want effectiveness and you want deadly marksman from the right, I think Robben's a shout. I thought Robben was, Robben.
Very much so.
On the PlayStation, I always used to have a Robben in my team, because you cut in and take a shot with Robben, you're 85-90% guaranteed a goal. Look, it comes down to personal choice.
This is it.
Figo and Laudrup. I'm happy to go with Laudrup because the guy was just beautiful to watch. He's so tall. Elegance. He had everything. He had absolutely everything. Upright, sort of this, no diving. The hits they used to take in those times. He could play as a false nine as well. But so could Figo. Figo could do all that as well and just mesmerize fullbacks. But I'm happy.
And I'm
to
sure
go with-
we're missing out. I'm sure we're missing out on a stack of them as well. You know what I
Well,
mean? It's tough, isn't it?
I'm looking through the comments here, and Kev O'Sullivan saying, "Do you want someone on the right cutting in, or a wide player to cross for the two in the middle?" Well, there's only going to be one in the middle. Well, maybe we'll have Ronaldo at the back post.
Yeah.
There's an argument going on about Gerrard in the chat, whether he play for one or two teams. Avo says Gerrard play for one, so what's the problem? Other people are pointing out that he played for two, but can you call LA Galaxy a team? Says Avo. It's a good argument, I suppose. Let me see.
Neymar,
Tyler,
you know,
I'm reading here. Tyler Smith says, I'm still disgusted at your voting result. Ronaldinho over Cristiano was 100% wrong. Come on, man. Listen, we didn't vote.
That's not us.
I
thought we were getting Ronaldinho in our team, to be honest.
Listen, this wasn't
Tyler
like the American elections. This was very, very fair.
Tyler says voters need to give their head a wobble. Well, you see, the problem is, and I found with the votes anyway, people were voting, but they weren't retweeting it. So if you retweet it, you're going to retweet it to people that you interact with online, and they probably have similar views to you. And when you retweet and you voted for whoever that player is, somebody of similar mind will probably vote for that player as well. But it happened to be people are just coming across this poll, hitting who they liked and leaving it there, and that's where you get these sort of things that went on. But going back to
the thing with the Neymar shout, I get that with Keith, because Neymar is another Ronaldinho. You see, in terms of talent, he's fucking oozes it. But
he's the opposite, isn't he? He's like a snidey little fucker.
Yeah.
Whereas Ronaldinho was sort of a smiling assassin. Neymar's a little bastard.
Yeah, he's the people's. Listen, you could say Neymar is the Ronaldo of the Messi and Ronaldo comparison to Neymar and Ronaldo. Do you get what I mean? Not very popular.
Is there an argument for Rivaldo?
No, not on the wings.
Well, I mean, look, if we're going to, Rivaldo was in the attacking midfield section, wasn't he? Other than that, I'd have had him. But why there's not an argument for Diego Maradona is beyond me. But we put him in as an attacking midfielder. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
I'm happy to go with Laudrup just over Figo. Not much in it, but I'm happy just because I'm a nice guy. I'll bow down to Keith.
Well, Laudrup is a brilliant player. I'm trying to think of someone that was left-footed but came in, and Arjen Robben is the one that stands out for me.
Yeah,
Robben stands out.
He was brilliant. Yeah, a lot of injuries, but wasn't he?
But I tell you, just for the nostalgia, I'll take Laudrup. I'll take Michael Laudrup. So we are now sitting with a team as we stand. Before we go to strikers, let me run through it again. Before I run through it again, please hit the like on the YouTube page. Please hit the bell icon so you get notification that we've gone live, and please subscribe. If you're on Twitter or you're on Periscope, please share it onto your timeline. As I said yesterday, we don't ask for any money off anybody for this. We don't charge. We never will charge. It'll never be anything but free, this content. All we're asking for is a couple of clicks on buttons a week just to support us and help us try grow. Buffon, Cafu, Cannavaro, Baresi, Maldini, Alonso, Gerrard and Zidane, Messi, Ronaldinho. That's how the viewers stand at the moment. We stand with Schmeichel, Zanetti, Van Dijk, Chiellini, Lam, Rijkaard, Iniesta, Hullet, Michael Laudrup, Cristiano Ronaldo. And now we get down to strikers. And I'm basically going to cut this very short. We had two polls, and both these players ran amok in the polls. We had, I think, Ronaldo. I'm just going to call him Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo. That's who we're talking about. So when we reference Ronaldo, that's who we're speaking about. Ronaldo came in with something like 77% of the vote, and in the other vote, Thierry Henry came in with 76 or something along that. It went to the final, and Ronaldo came in as the winner. He blitzed Henry on about 72%, I think. So it was Ronaldo, or R9 as people like to call him, if you're in the know.
El Phenomenal.
Yes, so
phenomenal, yeah.
Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, for the two old blokes I'm sitting talking to tonight. Keith, I'm going to let you go first. Whoever is moving around with their mic, I'm going to punch the head off, just to let you know, because I'd say the listeners are annoyed as I am.
Me.
But Keith, I'm going to give you the first shout. Ronaldo, go.
He was amazing, wasn't he? Anyone that's young, right, that's listening to this, that thinks Cristiano Ronaldo is the real Ronaldo and this other fella is a fat fella, go back and watch clips of him. This fella was an absolute. His nickname is the El Phenomenon. He was phenomenal. This fella was outrageous, and you can go back. He was part of the Brazil squad for the '94 World Cup. He was only 17.
That's
he didn't feature, but he burst onto the scene then at PSV and then at Barcelona. If you look at him at Barcelona and Inter Milan, a lot of people will know maybe from his Real Madrid days. He was after getting a couple of bad injuries by that stage and was still outrageously good.
Yeah.
Outrageous. But if you look at him at Inter and at Barcelona, this fella was, if he hadn't got the injuries, I'd have said he'd be the best forward player of all time, without a doubt. He is absolute fucking mustard.
He was, do you know something? When I look at Ronaldo, like you were talking about the '94 World Cup there, and you see him after he has the braces, doesn't he? And he's celebrating, and he's still a unit. Like, excuse me, he's not a small bloke. He's an absolute unit. No. And around that time, 94, 95, we had Robbie Fowler at Liverpool, and Robbie Fowler was just downright finisher. He was a brilliant footballer. Don't get me wrong, extremely intelligent at what he did. But when he, and I love Robbie Fowler, I think he's still the best finisher we've ever seen at the club. But or I've seen over a long stretch. Ian Rush, I remember the back end of Ian Rush. You know, probably not the back end, but you know the later part of Ian Rush's Liverpool career, the last
post Juventus.
The last 6-7 years of it. But Robbie Fowler, you know, was just outrageous. A really intelligent footballer, could score all sorts of goals and stuff like that. Hit them from outside the box, curled them, dipped them. He could chip keepers. He could lash it in the net. He scored a fair share of headers. But when Ronaldo came along, I remember it's probably around 96, I think. He's around there, isn't he? When he ends Barcelona, I think in 96. He only does one season at PSV under Bobby Robson. Yeah. I remember. And he was, look, listen, we weren't watching a hell of a lot of Dutch football at the time, right? Let's put our hands up. But what you see,
for yourself.
Yeah, you weren't. You weren't. And when you seen me, you went, Jesus, this guy looks brilliant. And then he goes to Barcelona. I think in 96 he goes to Barcelona, maybe 97. Someone might, fill that in for me. But then at Barcelona and then on to Inter Milan, it was just mind-blowing what he was doing, because he was in the box. He was scoring the odd header. He was banging them in left foot, right foot. He was putting defenders on their arse, whether that was in the box, outside the box, on the halfway line. He was in the corner with footballs and he was just going by 3 and 4 fellas. He was just mesmerising. That's the only... And I don't mean in the skill sense. It was just... He would have the most desperate skill to go past you, and then he would just shoulder you out of the way as if, get away. Yeah. You know, if he done you with a nutmeg or a fleet of foot or a slight movement, then you try to get back at him and you go, I'm not letting this fella do it. And you just bounce off him. Then he'd throw strength, he'd show pace, and he'd burst past you. And then he could chip the keeper, he could curl it, he could place it, he could bang it. He just was ridiculous. Absolutely
You know what it's like, if I can jump in there, Gav? You know the way when Liverpool, the opposition team were getting a corner on Liverpool, and it was an absolute model that we'd break, and it'd be 3 players would be gone. Ronaldo was this on his own. Like, if Ronaldo got the ball in his own box, you're on the edge of your seat thinking, this fucker can run this pitch. And I know that sounds, you think, no one runs the pitch. He could run the pitch, and he could bounce players off him, and he could, go through them. And it wasn't just, when you say bouncing players, you make him sound like a bit of a battering ram. He was, doing skills and flicks and tricks. Like, he was absolutely outrageous. This fella, like, anyone that hasn't seen him, go back and look at him. This fella was outrageously good.
Grizz, how good was he?
We get into debates with football fans of now so many times, don't we? People that are how would you say under 30 maybe wouldn't have seen him much, maybe something like that.
Yeah. Well, around 97, if you were born in say 95, so that make you probably 24, 25 years of age.
Yeah, and it's difficult because the names that we've discussed, Maradona, Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Rivaldo, Romario, so many great strikers and we're talking elite. This guy for me, Gav and Keith, and I'm sure you'll agree, because listening to you guys, we're all on the same page here. If it wasn't for his injuries, this is the biggest tragedy in football for me. His injuries. This curtailed the career. This guy, Keith, you just said you talk of him as a battering ram. This is it. He was everything. He was your false nine. He was your authentic old school nine. He could play on any of the flanks. If you gave me a choice over Ronaldo, over Ronaldinho and all these wide men, Robin, what we discussed, I'd play him. I'd make sure this Ronaldo was in my team regardless.
Yeah.
Do you know what we speak about Robin? And the thing about Robin was when he got the ball, you knew what he was going to do, but he was so hard to stop, and that's perfectly true. But Ronaldo was the exact same. When he faced up a player on the inside left channel, and you knew he was going to throw his leg or his right foot over the ball, switch it onto his left, and go past you, and you knew he was going to do it. You just could not get near him.
I was just going to say, Gav, there's not a footballer born that you could say was unstoppable. This guy was the exact definition of unstoppable. Messi, you could say, was we've discussed Messi, right? But you could sometimes, very, very rarely, sometimes say if you got like 3 6-footers around him, maybe they'd outmuscle him. You could not do that to that Ronaldo.
No.
There's no way he would be out-jumped, out-muscled, out-skilled in every facet of a striker's game.
And he was lightning quick as well.
He was ridiculous. Look, every computer game that every PlayStation game that kids play these days, I am 100% convinced was based on just watching that Ronaldo play. He was phenomenal. He was not real. He was out of this world. You just have to watch his games back to see the surfaces he played on, the defenders, the way they clattered him and broke him in half. He was outrageous. Probably my most favorite player of all time.
He scores a goal. I remember watching, I think it was the Bobby Robson documentary, and they're talking. It's a documentary. The man dies fairly soon after it's made, and they're talking about his time at PSV, and they go on. I'm nearly sure it was the documentary, and they go on to talk about Ronaldo. Now, I think Bobby Robson has him at PSV and goes to Barcelona. I think he goes with him. Right? Am I right in saying that? He goes with him.
That's right.
Right. That's right, yeah.
So he's at Barcelona and they're playing away, and I don't know who they're playing. But basically, I don't think Ronaldo's having the best of games. But he scores this goal where he basically gets it on the left touchline near the halfway line. And he bounces off a couple of players. He goes past another fella. He jumps another fella as he dives in. He runs down the pitch. He drops a shoulder on somebody. Bursts past. He scores this goal. And you can actually deep footage of it. And you can see the staff at Barcelona have their head in their hands seeing this. It was like...
It was against Compostela.
That's the name. I'm nearly sure, I think you're right. Compostela was in my head, but I didn't want to say it in case I was completely wide of the mark.
No, I'm always here
But it's one of those goals when he scores it, and you actually see people with their hands on their head in disbelief at what this guy has done. In disbelief at what he's done.
We're talking about coaches that have seen them all. We're talking about Jose Mourinho, Bobby Robson, Capello, Ancelotti, you name them, you ask them, they all say, and they've coached all the players, even Guardiola. Everyone has coached the likes of Messi and all these great other players that we're talking about, the Ronaldos, the Messis, whatever. They all say unanimously that if it wasn't for his injuries, the single best striker they've seen in their lifetimes is that Ronaldo.
Yeah, he would have been
hands down.
He would go down as probably the most devastating strike you've ever seen. Like we talk about, he's at Barcelona. Where does he? He goes to He goes Barcelona,
to Inter.
Goes to Inter,
Barcelona to
and then he
Inter.
goes Real Madrid, right?
Yeah,
and
40-odd million.
And when he gets to Madrid, the injuries are catching up with him. He has a couple of
the
bad
weight
injuries.
is spoiling on him as well.
But you could still see the class he shows. And the standout one for me, Keith, is when they go to Old Trafford in the Champions League.
Yeah.
I think Real Madrid might be 2-0 up or something from the first leg, and Ronaldo scores a hat-trick that night, and literally 75,000 people at Old Trafford stand and applaud this guy off the pitch because what he done on that. I watched that game. I'll always remember watching that game because I thought it was one of those you can watch where United at home, Real Madrid, are they a little bit past it? You know that kind of way. You're trying to see what way this game might go, and I just sat again mesmerised by this fella because they were starting to write him off. Had he got the pace? Could he be as effective as he was? And he literally put United to the sword on his own. It was. I suppose I won't say the perfect send off for him as a footballer. But when you can put a moment in like that towards the back end of your career to something to just hold up and go, I'm still that fucking good.
The mad thing about it, he was probably only about 26 at that stage.
Yeah, like Kev O'Sullivan says, guys, spend a half an hour on YouTube after this. It's worth it. It's 100% more. Just type in Brazilian Ronaldo into YouTube and enjoy, because that performance that night for me was just unreal.
Not only that, honestly, if you guys, when fans talk about players or their favorite, when they talk about great players, they always tend to sort of obviously go for their favorites, and sort of there's always biasness, right? One way to look at it, or one way to assess greatness of players, is by going by testimonies of great players or great defenders and great coaches. And there's somewhere, and I'm sure you can find it on YouTube, and I advise and I suggest everyone to try to find the French national team discussing how they are looking forward to playing Brazil Ronaldo in the World Cup final. What year would it be? In 98?
98. And what happened at the start of that was fucking disgraceful.
Well, exactly. But
the pressure on him by Nike, he has a fit in the changing room and he's sent out to play. All the players are like, oh no, he's not playing. Like Roberto Carlos and all are saying, oh no, he's not going to be playing. We have to play without him. The next thing he's getting the fucking lineup. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? No, the pressure that was on him was unreal.
But Keith, there's a little, I don't know if it's a program or a little documentary or a clip of the players. Like, we're talking great players. The likes of, we're talking about Thuram, Blanc, Desailly,
LeBouf. We're not talking about, it was quality.
We're not talking about your local club. We're talking some of the greatest players the world's ever seen. Talking about another fellow footballer. They're not talking about someone before their time or ahead of their time. They're talking about someone they're about to face. And you just watch that, and that will tell you everything you need to know about how good this Ronaldo was.
Yeah. And you know what I have to say as well? Sorry, Gav. Yeah. One of the things I'd say about, I hate talking about a player who could have been if it wasn't for injuries. This fella was lethal after the injuries. You know what I mean? If he hadn't got injured, you're talking like out of this world good. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's absolutely, you can't stress how good he was.
You can't.
And when you say how he could have been, it's not like it was one of these, the injuries ruined him. Like, give me a random player that injuries fucked up that never really fulfilled it. This isn't Ronaldo. Ronaldo went on. I think his whole Real Madrid career was, on the wane, and he still got a shitload of goals, and he still had moments of magic, loads of them. Do you know what I mean? This fella was outrageous.
He was brilliant, and just to finish on him, that happens to him in 1998, and he should never have played. I have a feeling he was probably taken out of the ground to hospital and brought back again, and there was all sorts of stuff going on, and he shouldn't have played. And he goes off soon into the final, and I think that's what makes France win the game. They look and go, if he's gone off, we can win this,
Yeah.
All things being equal, I think Brazil probably would have beat them on the day if Ronaldo had been fully fit. That's just my honest opinion, because
the Brazilian players would have been affected as well by that. You know what I mean? Their heads were cabbaged.
France were good. Don't get me wrong, but there's a couple of hairy moments in that World Cup, and I think him looking at the likes of Blanc, although a great defender, Desailly is around, LeBouf is around, Lizarazu, Thuram. Ronaldo would have fancied himself against any of them, and I know he would, because just the way the player he was. But I've never been as happy for a player to win a World Cup than 4 years later when he scores two in the final against Germany. And I just thought, you know what, he was treated disgustingly in 1998, because literally, do you remember Neymar goes down in 2014? Was it 2014 World Cup in Brazil? And
Probably.
remember he gets hurt, and they're all with the jerseys and the country's
the
in mourning.
shite there.
The pressure Ronaldo was under was way more than what Neymar was under.
Oh.
Way more. But for him to see him win a World Cup and do it by scoring 2 goals in the final against Germany in 2002,
Yeah.
I was absolutely
Poetic
delighted
justice.
for the bloke.
Poetic justice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ronaldo's not on our team, although we'd love him to be.
What a shame.
What are we going with up front, lads? What are we now? We can
Who
pick
we
any
thinking?
forward we want. I want Luis Suarez. I'm going to put it out there right now.
Didn't even think of him. I wouldn't get near my team, but yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm throwing him out there.
I think we're going to outvote Gav there. I'm going to go with someone. I quickly before it came to me, I quickly Googled to check that, you know, when he got his injury and when he stopped playing, and I think in those years he was good enough to sort of be in contention and talking. You know, we're talking about injuries ruining great careers. Well, after Ronaldo, there was a player called Marco van Basten. And in terms of, we're talking about loud drop, the equivalent of the most natural goal scorer, skillful, number 9. Wow. Marco van Basten was one of my favorites of all time. I think another one that injuries totally ruined. And, you know, we didn't get to see enough. Well, I got to see enough of him because I rate him that highly. But the world, in my opinion, didn't get enough to see about. Didn't get to see enough of Marco van Basten.
He was
I
brilliant.
think he retired after 93, wasn't it? 93.
95, I think it was.
It was 95, but I don't think he played a hell of a lot of games between 93 and 95. No. I think there was a couple of comebacks that just didn't materialise. He was brilliant. He was an assassin. He was literally we went in the box, he scored. It was as good.
I mean, the modern day fan would probably remember Bergkamp more, but this guy based his game on Bergkamp. Bergkamp based his game on Marco van Basten. You see the Bergkamp touch. You see the touch. You see these strikers where they turn with their first touch, right? Whether it's on the volley or along the floor. Van Basten was the master of that. The first touch turn is a skill that not many have. You know, you try watching Lukaku try it. I'll tell you how hard. It was a deft skill and a touch, and Van Basten was the true master of that, making space in the penalty box. His hat trick against England, in the which Euros was it? I can't remember now. Possibly Euro 90. Oh, I can't remember now.
88.
It may be. Yeah, it was before 90, you see. That's the thing. You're right. Yeah, it was 88. What a mesmerizing hat-trick. One of the best players, the most intelligent players you're ever likely to see around the penalty box. The art of making space. You know how Robbie Fowler was brilliant at it? Absolutely brilliant at it. Well, this guy was double that.
Is there? I've put Suarez's name out there. Is there an argument for Thierry Henry?
I wouldn't have had him anywhere near it personally, Thierry Henry.
Okay,
I'm not a fan of the Premier League, to be honest. Liverpool and that's it.
Kev O'Sullivan lists Henry, Ibrahimovic, Klinsmann, Papan, Romario, Vialli, Zola. He throws a load of names in there.
Well, it's very difficult to go against, in my opinion. Now, guys, obviously, we've got to agree here, but I can't see how we can go against Ibrahimovic. Oh.
Fuck off, Grizz, will you?
Whoa.
Ibrahimovic.
What's his weakness?
He's a cocky bastard. I can't stand the man. If he was standing in front of me, I wouldn't give him a slap, but when he turned around, I'd say to me mates, he's a prick. I don't like him.
Yeah, but then he's
a big fucker.
Okay, Keith, if we take that yardstick, we cannot even mention Suarez then.
I think Zlatan is a flat track bully of a player who,
oh man,
well, I wouldn't say shits himself on the big stage. He's flattered to deceive more than he's actually done at. So Zlatan doesn't come into it for me. Now, I want to go back to Van Basten, right? A point on Van Basten. Only one season did he get over 20 goals. 91-92, he got 25 goals for AC Milan. Now, when you compare that to the likes of Messi and Ronaldo, it sounds absolute dirt. But back then, that was 25 goals in Serie A was phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? So they've sort of muddied the waters with the amount of goals that they've scored. Van Basten was getting like 18, 19 a season, and that was outrageous because the defence it was all about defence, wasn't it? It was, you know, they could kick lumps out of them.
The masters of defence. That era was the most defensive era you're ever likely to see, and that's why you're right. Getting 17, 18 goals in Serie A was the equivalent of getting 35,
yeah. I agree, yeah.
Someone else that deserves a shout, maybe, and I don't think I saw anyone mention him. Samuel Eto'o. Discuss.
Eto'o was a brilliant forward.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is he's at Mallorca, isn't he, for a couple of years, and he goes to Barca, and you know he's at Inter, and he's brilliant. I don't get me wrong, he was brilliant in his prime. I just don't think he's up there as the best in a World 11. You know, if
I think David Villa was better personally than Eto'o.
Like, does Romario get a mention?
Romario should,
absolute heroes. But again, Romario, wow. Now you see, this is it. Romario was one of my ultimate heroes. Another one in that era, Keith, you'll probably adhere to this idea of George Weah.
George Weah was amazing.
Phenomenal.
Amazing.
Absolute incredible player. We're talking about sort of battering ram, skill, pace, height.
Yeah. He had it all.
Absolutely any role. Was an absolute beast of a player. Had the passion, the desire.
He was amazing.
I'm surprised no one's mentioned Ruud van Nistelrooy and all this goal scoring messing.
Yeah, Ruud van Nistelrooy, but as a player, like, Ruud van Nistelrooy was just a pure goal scorer, wasn't he?
That's what the fellow up front is there for.
It is, but you want a bit more from them, you know.
Why? You've Michael Laudrup and Cristiano Ronaldo messing around beside you.
I know, but the person I would have been going for who hasn't got a mention is Gabriel Batistuta.
Who?
Batistuta.
Batistuta in the 90s, right? Well, I'm saying about Van Basten got only more than 20 goals once in 91, 92. In the 90s, Batistuta in Serie A got over 20 goals 5 times. Now, it was the latter part of the 90s, so we're not talking about the same era as Van Basten. He would have come on the scene, I think, at Fiorentina maybe the year after Van Basten's golden period. But he got 5 times he got over 20, and once he got 19. You know, like, Batistuta was absolutely brilliant. Now, he was a goal machine as well.
Well, he's the Argentinian Shearer, isn't he? So we could make a case for Alan Shearer for sheer
that's true.
For sheer goals, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the Van Nistelrooy argument as well, isn't it?
But it all depends what way you want to go with this. Like, Dylan O'Rourke.
Well, I like Gav's idea because we've got Gav suggested that we've got who have we got on the wings?
Yeah, you've Ronaldo and
Laudrup and Ronaldo.
Shevchenko was mentioned here by Ross. Dylan O'Rourke mentions Van Persie. He believes he's very, very underrated. He also shouts at Michael Owen, who of course did win a Ballon d'Or as well.
Won the Premier League at Man United as well.
I just think like when we look at this team, like Messi, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo was outrageous as a front three for the viewers' team, right? But when I look at our front three, I'm thinking Laudrup is so creative. He'd be putting balls on plates for whoever you want. Ronaldo's going to look to get in the box and score a shitload of goals. You know, you're not going to be running many channels in this team. You're just going to be standing in the box going, listen, put it in there and I'll finish it. And Van Nistelrooy and, you know, Kevin Sullivan says Van Nistelrooy and Ronaldo would end up occupying the same space. If you're looking at it tactically, we need a false 9, really, in his opinion. I don't know if you need a false 9 because I think Laudrup isn't the sort that will run beyond your forwards. I think Laudrup's more the type that would probably drift inside and look to create. So you're looking for really good movement. And I think, like, don't get me wrong, I didn't like the fella, but Van Nistelrooy for me was just give him a chance and he just buried it.
No, did not notice he couldn't play with Ronaldo. Couldn't play with Ronaldo.
I liked him.
When Beckham was at United, Van Nistelrooy was getting a shitload of goals. Ronaldo came in and Van Nistelrooy wasn't getting the goals.
Batistuta has a statue at Fiorentina.
What a man.
Listen, does Bergkamp get in the conversation?
Bergkamp, but I think he was in the attacking midfield.
Doesn't matter, but we can pick whoever we want.
We can pick who we want because...
Well, then we can have Maradona.
Jesus
that's
Christ.
True.
But then again, Maradona's peak was more the 80s. As we said last night with P. it was the 80s you're looking at.
That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing. Otherwise, there's no debate. There's absolutely no debate.
No.
Maradona
So
gets-
we have to
Do you know
pick a
what,
striker.
guys?
Are we going for somebody that just bangs goals, or are we looking for someone to just terrorise people in all sorts of ways?
I think we've.
But who are you thinking?
Who's your midfield?
See, what we have is we've Rijkaard, Hull and Iniesta, so we could go to a 4-4-2 quite easily here. Rijkaard, Hull central, Iniesta on one side, Laudrup on the other, pushing Ronaldo up front with another. Loads of flexibility in our team.
I think that's a very good shout. With that midfield, I don't think we would go 4-3-3.
Ross wants Crespo. He's a tap-in merchant.
Crespo was brilliant.
Yeah.
Crespo was brilliant.
Well, if you're going to talk, listen, one of the most cleverest players.
Oh, look, we can't have Bergkamp because Dylan says, look, if you are playing away, you can't even get on the plane. So no,
yeah,
he's
I
out.
don't want him. Bleeding Mr. T, get the ball.
Dan Tomo gives a shout to Drogba as well to put up there.
That's a shout.
Oh, no, Jesus Christ, no way.
It's a shout, though. It's a shout.
He just hates everybody that's at Liverpool, doesn't he?
I'm not. Do you know what, right? Honestly, I hate the Premier League. I only like Liverpool. I would not watch Blade and other Premier League nonsense.
I've really enjoyed discussing opinions with you, and I've agreed with you. I hate agreeing with people so much, right? But you've shocked me on how you've totally disrespected Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now, putting aside he's an absolute wanker, I couldn't give two fucks about that. He is. He's an absolute wanker, but every team needs a wanker. And he's what a player. I mean, there's nothing he didn't have. Now, if Luis Suarez...
He didn't have a Champions League.
Come on.
Do you remember when we won in 05? He was with Juventus, wasn't he? And we played Juve, and all the talk was, Zlatan. Brutal, didn't show up at all. I think he might have scored against us in the return leg, but his overall play was fucking brutal.
Cannavaro scored.
Did he not score? Cannavaro scored. He missed the sitter, then he popped one over. He missed the bleeding howler, actually. But just for me, he was always, he always fluffed it. It was only when he got older and he became this mythical fucking god, Zlatan, I am Zlatan, all this shit.
No, forget all that. I'm not falling for that.
David Lennon reckons Zlatan is so overrated.
There you go, David, my man.
Stephen O'Connor says some great shouts in here. There's too many.
Well, I've got two more.
Avo asks Dylan Avo asks Dylan what's he talking about. And they're going on about Mr. T. Now Dylan's just having a laugh. I think Dylan's just throwing a name.
Yeah, Mr. T won't get on the plane. Dennis Bergkamp.
Two players who cleverest players in their head, the most intelligent strikers you're ever likely to see. The only thing for me could be the technique is not as fast and clever, good as their brain. Vialli and Klinsmann.
I have them both on my list. Yeah, have them both on my list.
Stephen O'Connor says Henrik Larsson.
As well.
Stephen O'Connor says Henrik Larsson. Dan Tomo says Raul.
Raul, yeah.
Ross says what about Lewandowski?
So many.
There is so many, but listen, we're gonna have to agree on somebody here. We're gonna have to agree on someone.
I'll sit back and I will let you two decide.
Hold on, no, Keith, go back to your 4-4-2 suggestion. Run me through that formation, and then we'll pick someone.
So our team so far, Grizz, we've Schmeichel in goals, Zanetti and Lam at full-back. We've got Van Dijk, Chiellini in a centre-back, right?
Yep.
But in midfield, we've got Rijkaard, Hull and Iniesta. And we've got Michael Laudrup on one wing and Ronaldo on the other. Now, what I'm saying there is in the real world, if this fantasy football game took place, you'd have Hull and Rijkaard in the centre of midfield. You'd push Iniesta to one side, Laudrup to the other. You have Ronaldo up front with another. Who's the other?
All right, in that case, if we're putting Ronaldo through the middle, then I would go for an out-and-out goal scorer.
I'd like to rule out Van Basten.
Rule out Van Basten?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'll bow. That's true. I'm outvoted. I mean,
because I'll tell you why. Because, and this is going on way too long.
That's fine. No, that's it. You don't need to discuss why. I agree with you.
The reason being, I get all the 88 reference and stuff, but from 90, it's probably only a little period of 90 to 93 where, there's 3 years there where I think there's more players there that have done more over a longer period of time.
No problem.
If we're ruling Maradona out, we probably have to rule him out as well, would we?
I think Raul is a brilliant show.
I think Raul's a brilliant shot. I was just about
Well,
to
I
say
mean,
that.
yeah. Didn't Ronaldo break Raul's goal record for Real Madrid? Like, so I wouldn't be
I
against
just
it.
thought about it. I pictured Raul with Ronaldo up top, and then just Laudrup. Oh my God, I pictured it. Can you imagine the interplay between Raul and Iniesta?
I'm just saying that Raul, fair enough, right? But if you wanted to do that and you wanted to pull Ronaldo up front with someone that's going to terrorise people, you get back to Luis Suarez.
Luis Suarez doesn't
Yeah.
get into my all-time 11.
Oh, I don't
Sorry,
know.
His numbers are quite good since he left us. They're phenomenal.
And he's a hero, etc., etc. Magnificent striker, but he doesn't get into the likes of Raul for me. Ahead of Raul, he just doesn't get ahead of Raul.
Okay. So Raul is a definite contender. Let's put somebody up against Raul, and then we'll decide between the three of us.
A lot of people will look for Thierry Henry. Where do you two stand on him? I'm not pushed on him.
Thierry Henry was an outstanding footballer.
He was brilliant.
So quick, so good in front of goal.
Again, strong as well.
Well, why have we ruled out? I don't think Thierry Henry is the other choice. I think Batistuta is the other choice.
Do you know
I think Batistuta or Raul.
Right, but that's going on the presumption that you're going to switch this formation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we are.
So if we weren't switching formation, if we needed to go 4-3-3, so we weren't overrun in midfield, were you happy with Raul being your lead man?
Absolutely.
Because I think, are you only putting Raul in there because Ronaldo's going in beside him, or are you putting Raul in there as a front man in a 3-man? He's a lone striker, but more or less.
I think Raul fits in both. So therefore, in my opinion, I'll suggest Raul gets ahead because he can play both roles. He can play the lone nine, the front man, and he can drop deep as well.
Okay.
Whereas Batistuta is your out and out gunman.
Yeah, I like the out and out gunman. You see.
Keith, choice is yours.
Well, my choice was Batistuta all along.
Go on then.
But Batistuta, I'm a big fan.
But Grizz does make a good point that if you're playing in a 4-3-3 and others have made the point you want the false 9, Raul can do that. And
much more fluid.
He's not like he's lacking in goals, is it?
Yeah.
Raul.
What a brain Raul was. What a brain Raul had. I mean, he was sort of amongst Figo, Zidane, Ronaldo, Beckham.
I was going to say, yeah.
And he
was
didn't
never
look
blazing.
He was quite the orchestrator amongst those lot.
Do you know what else I'm looking at as well? You're going up against defensive partnership of Cannavaro and Baresi. So they're not going to leave a hell of a lot of room in behind for you to run beyond and try just be physical against them. You're going to need someone cute. And I think Raul falls into that more than anyone else we've mentioned. So I think we go with Raul.
They'll catch Batistuta offside every fucking day of the week.
Is Raul the man? Am I right? Am I right in Raul down?
I think Raul's the man.
I'll go for Raul.
Never even come into the conversation and storms up on the inside.
I have a list of about 20 strikers here, and he's not on it.
Well, do you know something? There's loads of names have come in here tonight for all the positions we've spoken about. All week, there's been loads of names that have come in that we didn't even get to speak about. And somebody says there, geez, we need a B team. Listen. There's about 15 lads that contribute. Probably a little bit more than that contribute to the day trippers, right? And just most of us are in a WhatsApp group. We talk all day, mostly bullshit. Vast majority of it is bullshit, and winding each other up. But when we get into conversation, it gets extremely heated, and over footballers or all sorts of. We can speak football. Let's be honest about it, right? When we want to. If you want to give me a team from start to finish and post it and at the LFC Day Trippers, there is 4, 5, 6 people that have access to that account. We'll see it, we'll answer it, and we'll argue the point with you. So anybody that's watching now, anybody that's watching on YouTube, Periscope, listening to the download, whether that's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcast, if you hear this and you think, I don't really agree with that team, whether it's the viewers team or the alternate team, if you don't agree, put your own team down, send it to at LFC Day Trippers on Twitter, and the lads will love it. We'll absolutely just go with it all day long. Like David Lennon throws in Baggio, David Lennon throws in Christian Vieri, he throws in Totti.
So many good players.
Yeah, and there's so much, like Kev O'Sullivan mentions the words knowledge there. There's so much knowledge in the chat room of players, not only from us three, but from people watching. The knowledge is obviously there of players from these eras. So if you do have the team you'd like, bang it down, send it on a tweet to us at LFC Day Trippers. Put the hashtag World11 on it if you want, and somebody who's looking at the account, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the next day, will come back to you with, oh, I like him, or I don't like him, or, and we basically have an argument about football all day long, and that's what it's about, because there's none going on at the minute. Grizz,
exactly, yeah.
Grizz, we finish with the team, so it ends up, viewers' team is Buffon, Cafu, Cannavaro, Baresi, Maldini, Alonso, Gerrard, Zidane, Messi, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, as in the Brazilian one. Our team is Schmeichel, Zanetti, Virgil van Dijk, Chiellini, Lam, Rijkaard, Iniesta, Hullet, Michael Laudrup, Cristiano Ronaldo, Raul. Grizz, hand on heart, which team would you prefer?
Oh, fucking hell, Gav. I'm going with the Trippers team.
You're going with the Trippers team. Keith?
Yeah, I'm... the front line of that bleeding that viewers team, but was tasty, isn't it? But I think the fluidity of the alternate team there and the solidity, I'm going for the alternate team.
I'm looking at them and I'd agree with you. I think we have a defence that suits us better to handle the viewers front three than they have to suit ours. That's the way I look at it.
I tell you where I think we win it. I think Rijkaard and Gullit overpower Alonso in midfield. And I that was a mad shout. I love Alonso, Liverpool legend, blah, 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 blah. But, wow, Gullit and Rijkaard have him for breakfast, dinner and lunch.
Okay. David Lennon asks, is it from 1990 onwards? Yes, it's from 1990 until today. So anybody that's out there, whether it's you're watching live or you're listening to the download later on, if you want to send us the team, by all means do it. We see every tweet, we reply, we have the laugh, we have the arguments, and that's what it's all about. There's no football going on at the moment, so we are trying to fill our days with talk of World 11s and bits and pieces. We'll be back.
And we will never look down on your team and
No.
We're
not
subjective. We don't think we know. We're not the definitive opinions on football like many others will say and think. We will look at your team. We'll discuss and debate it all day long because that's what it's about.
Absolutely, and
unless you put Zlatan in which case don't show you.
Shut up, Pete.
No, we just argue with you all day, and that's fine.
Yeah.
People, that's what it's there for, And like Raul has literally come out of nowhere tonight to take that spot in that team. I'm being honest with you. Any formation, says Kev Sullivan, anything you want. Put it in there. Give us your formation and your side, and we'll talk about it. There will be players that'll pop up and. I do try look at it, go, does he compliment him? Does he compliment him? Different things.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can put as many deadly players you want on the pitch. If you don't work together, it doesn't work. We will be back tomorrow night, and tomorrow night will be our next in the series of our season review. I can't remember what month we're on. I'm going to say it's November. We'll probably try for in November and December and just go through them as quickly as we can because December's deadly. Let's be honest about it. Yeah. David Lennon is shouting Haji at me now. There's so many
I mentioned him in the group, David.
Stephen O'Connor says Ronald Koeman. There you go. There's another one. Let me see. Dylan O'Rourke says, meet you, Ben Arford, John Flanagan. Fuck off, Dylan, will you? But listen.
Yeah, but that's for his one season wonder 11. I'll give Dylan a break there. Dylan suggests doing a Premier League one season wonder.
That's a next week's agenda, Gav.
Okay. Yeah, we can do a Premier League one season wonder. Yeah, absolutely. We can do that. I'll write that down and we'll try to do something on it. We mightn't do a week long on it, but we might do a show one night and pick a... what I'll do is I'll line up Grizz and Keith for one night next week. I'll tell them when we're doing it and they have to have their teams ready before we get going, right? Because otherwise, Grizz will get extremely fucking confused as to what's going on, and he won't even argue with me with that. Listen, that's been the Fatback 4 Daily. It's been brilliant. The week has been great talking about all this. It really has. The viewers have made it. The people that have voted have made it. We just come along and discuss it. That's all we really do. Grizz, it's been amazing. Thanks a million. I love you.
Nothing. No pleasure, mate. No pleasure. No problem, mate.
Good stuff.
It's getting late. I need food.
Keith, I'll talk to you in a bit. Love you.
Take care. Love you too, Gav. Love you, Grizz.
Yeah,
love
mate.
you, listeners.
Okay, he does not love Zlatan Ibrahimovic though. That's it. We're out of here. Good luck. Over and out. Bye bye.